In the grand scheme of things, I'm a really small content creator. So when it comes to the work I do for YouTube, it's not about the money. It's about answering the questions that you guys have. It's about creating the content that you, the viewers, want. I read every comment that's posted on the channel so that I know you want a Fortnite battery test, and you want a Fortnite battery test, and you and you and you, all of you want a Fortnite battery test. Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, a Fortnite battery test. Let's start with how I performed these tests. If you own a Nintendo Switch, it's one of these three, either a Nintendo Switch version 2 hardware, a Nintendo Switch LITE, or a Nintendo Switch version 1 hardware. So I tested Fortnite on all three models. It's not just a model that will influence how much battery life you're gonna get, but it's also the settings you use. And you'll see that once we get to the results, which is what we're gonna do right about now. Starting with the Nintendo Switch version 2 that Nintendo upgraded in August of 2019. And the main improvement here is the battery life. So if you want the best battery life, this is definitely the model that you want to go for. On this console, I started Fortnite at the maximum settings. Here, the brightness is turned all the way up. Sound is at a maximum. And Fortnite being an online game, there's really no option but to always be connected to Nintendo Online. At these settings, Fortnite lasted 3 hours and 42 minutes. That's of course the worst case scenario. If you want more battery life, you need to turn down the brightness and the sound. In my case, I went to the extreme. I turned both the brightness and sound all the way down. And let me tell you, playing Fortnite at these settings, it wasn't fun. It was difficult. It was painful. I didn't get a single win. But on this channel, I don't care about the wins. I lived through that pain so that you don't have to. In this case, that nightmare lasted 4 hours and 54 minutes. So I was able to squeeze another hour and 12 minutes by turning the settings all the way down. Next, I repeated the same test on the Nintendo Switch LITE. So this is for all you Switch LITE owners out there. There's at least 6.2 million of you out there, roughly 11% of the Switch population. And don't ask me how I got those numbers. That's a story for another day. Back to the battery life test. I started the LITE with brightness and sound turned all the way up. I call these the fun settings to play at because you can actually hear and see your targets and get some real wins. For me, this party lasted 3 hours and 6 minutes. That's about 36 minutes lower than the version 2 console. The next part is of course really painful again, this time with the Switch LITE. I turned the settings all the way down, minimum brightness, no sound. And even though I don't recommend playing at these settings, I was able to get an additional 47 minutes out of the Switch LITE for a total of 3 hours and 53 minutes. You know how I said 11% of you own a Switch LITE? Well, it's a whopping 65% that own the original version 1 Nintendo Switch. By the numbers, that's just over 36 million, making you OGs the most important group. For those reasons, the version 1 hardware is something that content creators just cannot ignore. So I sat down with this most important console and played Fortnite at both the maximum and the minimum settings. The numbers are of course the worst with this model. You're only gonna get about 2 hours and 21 minutes at the maximum settings. And if you wanna live through the pain and gain some more battery life, you can turn down the sound, you can turn down the brightness, but you're not really gonna get that much more. It's only an additional 21 minutes at these minimum settings for a total of 2 hours and 42 minutes. So that's it, folks. I hope that was what all of you were expecting. That's everything you need to know about Fortnite, Nintendo Switch, and battery life. If you enjoy my content and you find it helpful, please hit that subscribe button with notifications on. And like I said, I read all the comments, so make sure you drop down one below. And if enough of you want something, I'll try my best to deliver. I promise.